Hello and welcome to the Design School, Understanding Adobe Illustrator, Part 3. Last time, while working with the pen tool, we discovered how to apply colors to a stroke, how to change the stroke's weight, how to add end caps, dashes, and arrowheads, how to edit with the Direct Select tool, and how to practice with the pen tool by making your own templates or by downloading templates from provenmedia.net. In this section, we're going to look at creating shapes from paths, working with Pathfinder options, and shuffling shapes from front to back. Every stroke made with the pen tool is actually an individual path. I have two unconnected points. I can copy these, paste them, and then join them together by selecting the Direct Select tool and drawing a marquee selection around two endpoints, and then hitting Control J on a PC or Command J on a Mac. This gives me a direct connection between these two, and now they are all one piece. I'm going to move this piece down and make room so I have room to copy, Control C, and then Control F for paste in front. So now I actually have two of these laying right on top of each other. I'm going to go to the Reflect tool, and I'm going to hold the Option key down and click right next to my object, and I'm going to ask for a horizontal reflection and click OK. And now I have two different pieces. Now currently my object is filled with white, so you can't really tell what's going on here, but I'm going to change the color so we can see, and I'm going to do the same to this one. I can eyedropper if I want, and now I have two shapes that are opposing each other, but they're mirror images, the same colors, the same stroke, but they're not connected. If I wanted to connect them, I could do another marquee selection on two end points and hit Control J or Command J on a Mac, and now they're connected, and you can see the joint right up here. Now if I wanted to make that a smoother joint, of course I could go back in and pull out handles to smooth that out. It's just as easy to connect two endpoints by using the pen tool. So I hover over one endpoint and click, and then move over the second endpoint and click, and then pull at the same time, and that way I'll get a nice set of handles that I can adjust, and that completes my shape. In Lesson 1 we discovered how to edit our shape by moving anchor points around. Another way to edit is to use the Pathfinder tools. I can create a shape and add it to or delete it from my original shape by laying it over the top whatever amount that I want to overlap, and then selecting both, holding down the Shift key, selecting both items, and then clicking on Unite or Subtract or Minus or Intersect or Exclude. So I'm going to add this shape right now. My paths have incorporated the star into my original shape. If I turn on preview mode, this is easier to see. So I'm going to undo that now, lay it across the top again about like this, and then I'm going to hold down Shift, multiple select the star and my original shape, and I'm going to subtract it from my initial shape. The Pathfinder Intersect option lets me create an intersection between my two shapes by laying one over the other, selecting both, and then hitting the Intersect button. It results in an intersection that can sometimes be quite interesting. If I take these two shapes and use the Exclude option, the overlapping areas are taken away. The remaining Pathfinder functions are very useful, and I suggest you try each of them out. One of the benefits of using Pathfinder is that you're able to easily punch holes out of shapes. It's a little easier to see this when we create something behind the shape that we've punched out. So I'm creating a rectangle here. I'm going to give it a quick color blue. Under the object menu, I'm going to arrange and send to back. Now we can see as we move this rectangle around that it's behind our punched out area. The send to back and bring to front functions become very useful when we have several objects. So I'm going to create a few objects here. Okay, so I've got 2 or 3 objects on the stage now. Let's say I want to take this bar here and send it to back. Arrange, send it back. Okay. Or I could arrange this, send to back. Now what's interesting is this shape is still behind my initial shape, but the green square is the furthest thing back at the bottom of the stack. So it's behind everything. If I want to send this shape to the back, all I have to do is arrange and send it back. Objects can also be brought to front. This is a great way to control the stacking order of your objects and what order they lay in. We'll be talking more about layers and how to assign objects to layers, but for right now, just arranging things on your stage by sending to back or bringing to front is a useful way to go. There's a couple more ways to edit strokes or paths that can be quite useful. After I create a stroke, I can turn this stroke into a path by offsetting the path. I can pick any size that I want, and I've got a miter joint set, and I can preview and see, okay, that's fine. So now I have a shape that is based on that stroke that I created. Or I could turn the stroke into outlines. I go to Path, Outline Stroke. If I zoom way in, you'll be able to see that the stroke is no longer a stroke, but it's actually a thin outline of a shape. The width tool is another way of creating shapes out of strokes or paths in Illustrator. All I need to do is hover over an existing path and pull. All of a sudden I have a shape rather than a stroke. If I turn off the preview mode and go to Outline, you can see the work that I've done with the width tool does not show up. I can go to my object menu and expand Appearance, and then it creates vectors that will show up. We've covered a lot of ground here, so I'd like you to get practice using each of the concepts that we've talked about in this section. We learned how to join 2 open-ended paths. Then we learned how to copy and paste in front. Then we used the Reflect tool. We used the Pathfinder functions. We learned how to send objects to front and back. And we learned how to turn paths into shapes. So, watch this section again for review. Open a new Illustrator document. Practice the items we've covered at least 3 times each, and give yourself a star when you're done. We'll see you in Lesson 4.